So thank you, everybody, for joining us for AI and Creativity. I'm Umair Khan, Mentors Fund, Folio3 Software, and I teach entrepreneurship at UC Berkeley. But more important for all of you, I'm partially responsible for lunch today, since it's coming from I and my wife's restaurant, Zarene's. Yeah, always gets the biggest applause. So if you love the food, please let me know. If you don't like the food, please let my wife know. So we're going to have fun. Our guest, a very special guest, is Song-Yi Yoon. Song-Yi is a member of the MIT Corporation. She's an MIT PhD. She's the former president and chief strategy officer at NC Soft. And she's now a visiting innovation scholar at MIT. So please help me welcome Song-Yi Yoon. Song-Yi. Okay, have a seat. Great to be here with you. Welcome to the MIT AI conference.
Likewise.
So just to finish off her introduction, she's catching a flight in 2.5 hours to fly to Riyadh to play golf in the very first Women's Open golf tournament in Saudi Arabia. With a bunch of celebrities, or should I say fellow celebrities, and the royal family. And if you think I used ChatGPT to make up that introduction, you're wrong. This is actually, human creativity, so I embellished it a little. Which brings us to our first question. So at NC Soft, right, one of the first initiatives you had was to start the AI Center way back when. So help us understand what that was all about and how you used AI to embellish a very creative process, which is game design and development.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, and it's my pleasure to be here today. So I've been running a company called NC Soft. NC Soft makes MMORPG games. For those who are not gamers, it stands for Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game. So it's kind of a huge scale game for hardcore gamers. So if you're not hardcore gamers, you probably are not familiar with that. But anyways, I've been working at NC Soft for the last 20 years, 5 years as a board member and 15 years as an executive in various roles. The way I think about gaming is really a kind of lens into the future. Gamers are inherently early adopters. So if you work in gaming, you're forced to adapt the cutting-edge technology and innovation all the time. Think about cloud. We have had our in-house cloud engineer from 2007, before it became off-the-shelf product. We have worked with Intel in their innovating their microprocessors, because fastest microprocessors were used for gamers PCs, like NLP engines are used for moderating a gamer chat system. And if you think about VR and AR, it's like its first application is always gaming. Crypto, they all come to gaming companies because that's the kind of place you can find commercial applications before other industries can adopt those innovations. Because AI, for example, as well, you have to wait for a while. It becomes very safe to apply to driverless cars, for example. But gaming, the worst thing that can happen is client crash. So you can just kind of freely and it's kind of the nature of the business. You have to stay at the forefront of the innovation. So for NC Soft, we have had our AI center since 2009, 2010, but even before that, we had a VP of AI in 2006 already. If you think about all the NPCs in the character, boss monsters that play against humans, they're all kind of data-driven AI creatures. We talk about agents. They are free agents that observe what's happening in the world and kind of react to the human play style. Not only that, because gaming is such a fertile ground for digital analytics, because everything is in data and everything is digital. So we use AI and data science for example, churn prediction. monetization, pricing, packaging of the all the merchandise and how to price it to meet the need of the individual players. We have had our in-house NLP engine, as I said, to moderate the chat between players that are using different languages. I mean, oftentimes, there's a lot of curse words, but they have kind of filters, but they have to talk to each other to play efficiently and in a more emergent way. So we use, also like animation. You think about, there are a lot of characters that does not exist. It's easier to do animation if you're bipedal, or you have a four-legged animal with wings. It's really hard for animators to do it manually. So we use a lot of AI to help with that type of animation. So there are many ways to use AI, and game development. AI has been always an integral part of the game development. And it's really exciting. Even today, we use a generative AI, mid-journey type platform in creative process. If you think about game development process, the most exciting part is think about the new world, right? New world, what is going to be the background? We think about, this game is going to happen in 100 years from now, and what the world is going to look like, and we talk about biologically. Is it really plausible to think about this type of mutation? And you think about this world, this kind of interactions. So we bring ethologists, we bring biologists, we bring chemists in one room to talk about the world, what the world is going to look like. And it will involve some kind of imagination and a kind of the drawing up what the world is going to look like visually. And the iteration was much slower if we have to rely on human concept artists. But now we have AI kind of doing it in real time, so that the iteration became much more efficient. So we embrace AI in all parts of the game development.
Very cool. So you and I talked about this a couple of days back, and you mentioned when you look at AI in society, there are all manners of fears and concerns about AI taking your jobs. I think the prevalent thesis now is that AI may not take your job, but somebody with AI probably will if you're not using AI. So talking about education and lifelong learning, you have a pretty strong thesis on now in this sort of, what are you going to call it, post-AI world, how we should be looking at education as not just knowledge transfer, but fostering creativity and having folks understand what AI means for them. So talk a little bit about that, what you saw and what you've done.
Right. I think the reason why we're so excited about AI is a kind of GPT. GPT doesn't, before GPT, ChatGPT, GPT stands for, in the economics, GPT stands for general purpose technology. So we have a steam engine from electricity, internet, all those kind of the communication. Those are the GPTs that really transformed how we do business. And AI has the potential for being that GPT, exactly to your point, that just like the steam engine cars cannot compete with the production, a factory. They use a steam engine, cannot compete with factories. They use electricity and conveyor belt. It's going to be very difficult for any industry that doesn't use and the players that doesn't use an AI compete with those who are equipped with AI tools. So to think about the world where AI becomes an integral part of the kind of the supplementary tool for human productivity and functioning, you see the world where this kind of knowledge itself is. Sorry.
That's not ChatGPT generated. That's a real baby. So we're not doing any demos here. But yes, no problems at all. I think even the child can see the future.
Yeah, right.
And agrees with you wholeheartedly. But speaking of children's education,
Right, I mean,
then,
like,
so what do you see?
yeah, the knowledge
Yeah.
is increasingly becoming a commodity,
Yeah.
right? Because it's always at the fingertip, like a fingertip. So you can just kind of search for the knowledge, and it kind of shows up, and you have like access to all this like AI agents who can kind of supplement with that. What's going to be more important for humans to embrace is creativity and problem solving. How to see the world, how to navigate, what problem to solve, what to focus, and like how to guide this AI. But if you think about education system today, it's very much, it hasn't changed much since like for the last 200 years, which is very much optimized for delivering knowledge at the most efficient way. And I think that's a problem that we have to educate our next generation to be ready and prepared for this AI-filled world, and have to really focus much more on fostering creativity and how to educate it rather than just kind of cram them with kind of all this knowledge and memorization.
So we'll be taking audience questions, so get your questions in Slido in just a couple of minutes. Before we go there, I just have a quick thing to discuss with you. So you started Chameleon Ventures, which is investing in the intersection of the creative arts and AI. So you're picking out companies that are doing AI, but you're using AI to pick them out. Right. One statistic that Songyi shared with me is they see 24,000 companies a year and invest in 6, so slightly lower acceptance rates than MIT. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Chameleon Ventures and how you're approaching, and whatever you can share with us other steam engine world investors on how to use AI to invest.
It's just slightly lower acceptance rate. So I started a venture capital firm called Chameleon a couple of years ago, in 2021. And the thought then, I mean, I think it's a kind of using this data science and AI was kind of natural part of like my doing everything anyways. And on top of that, I thought that if I start kind of new VC franchise, it's really hard to compete with already established big names. Because I mean, like good companies are probably going to go to, you know, who on Sand Hill, and like I cannot really do the business in the same way as others do. So we developed this engine called like Mentis for Chameleon, and we collect all the data available on the internet about startups, founders, their like a network, their kind of prior work history, and etc. So today we have this engine that tracks 1 billion parameters, and we track 3 million companies at any given point. And we just kind of filter out the companies that fit our investment thesis, and that's about that kind of comes like between 1,000 to 2,000 a month, and we rank order them with based on the criteria that we use, including their like product market fit and like kind of the founder capability and all those things that we do like to see. And we reach out to them using email. So we have an email engine that we've been policing over the last couple of years, using a lot of A/B testing, like how should we introduce ourselves and how we should explain why we're reaching out to them to maximize their response rate. So we have an automated email engine that reach out to them, and we contact those. And I think so far we have made 11 investment, and like 6 of them were, I mean, we do get a lot of inbound queries as well, but like 6 of them were based on our outbound reach, and 2 of the fastest growing companies, which grew like 10x over the last 9 months, are from the engine selected companies. So I think that's kind of how we do approach investment.
Okay. So we'll be co-investing heavily with you. Okay, that meant is fun. So I'm going to ask a quick question from here, and we're coming up with the time because I have a couple of questions for you otherwise as well. So how do you anticipate AI will impact and assist creative producers in the marketing of their things in the upcoming quarters, right? So, you know, not AI impact in creating stuff, but in actually helping market and reach audiences.
I think it's I think there are many different ways to. It really depends on what kind of marketing that we're talking about, and I think it could be. I mean, the way I see AI is really kind of for all of us, it's kind of Iron Man suit, right? So it's going to enhance our capability, and it's going to really help how we see the world. We can help with just kind of better explaining what we are selling, what's a product, and like how to reach to come up with kind of crafting some kind of the language and kind of a way to express that the rationale, like why this product is going to be beneficial to the audience. So I think it's there are many ways to utilize this tool, and I think AI literacy is going to be a very important skill.
So you're a visiting innovation scholar at MIT, and you're looking to expand the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And obviously, you're immersed in entrepreneurship and startups here, particularly at home. So her youngest son started his company at 11. He's selling South Korean skin cosmetics using a lab in Illinois and vendors in China. It's a one-person company. He does all the SEO, SEM, A/B testing, everything. So my question is, why is he not here? No, my question is, what do you see and what excites you about AI and technology really being leveraged by entrepreneurs to create new ventures and the whole concept possibly of like 1 or 2-person companies, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I think it's really exciting time because there's a lot of disruption that can come out of this. For example, if we think about it, an org chart, our org chart in the traditional company is composed of all the nodes of the org chart were humans. But if you think about AI native companies, some of the nodes will be AI. And how are we gonna design those like different departments? How are we gonna fill? What's a good composition, like human versus AI ratio? Like what is a manager versus AI? I mean, like it's all those things. It's gonna bring up new challenges and opportunity to design companies in a fundamentally different way. And I think it's a very interesting example that with all these tools, he uses like a Google Suite and like Shopify and like all this marketing platform.
And your credit card.
My credit.
Yes.
One person can all do run this global business, and I think there will be a lot more companies like that will come out.
Okay. So there's a question around AR, VR, right? Generative AI is being used a lot in immersive worlds. What do you see as kind of the next or the coming of AR, VR, which is still kind of not quite there, right? So when you look at Gen AI being used, what are the lessons and all you can give to the folks here who are either creating stuff in AR, VR, going beyond the world? And what do you see as kind of, Gen AI's role in that area? If you have any thoughts on that, I just thought. Yeah.
That's a very interesting question. I mean, I think it's if I think about AR, VR, I mean, it's an amazing technology, and I think in gaming we've been playing with it for the last 10 years or so. But I think we really have to find the reason why that platform is the most suitable platform for delivering certain content and experience. And I think there is a lot of barriers to it so far, like just kind of the processing speed of the chips was not there, so that it kind of causes some delays and therefore some nausea. And it's kind of there's a lot of safety concerns if you just kind of wear like VR and like play, for example, like play this like a fencing in the living room, you just can kind of run into all the walls, and unless you have some kind of your staff watching over you, so there are a lot of kind of practical concerns and why that should be the best platform for certain applications. But like once you find that, I think there should be, just because it's an AI company, it's not going to be successful. You have to find the genuine need for that, and I think it's if that technology is the best position to meet that need and like a desire, then I think there is a chance.
So final question as we wrap up, as we look to build the foundations for a better world here and in your quests, what frightens you the most or concerns you the most, and then what excites you the most?
Right. I think that's a really good question, and I think it's. I think all of us, a lot of us in the room, have experience of being too early. like it's just like a lot of MIT graduates, like just kind of too early in many aspects. But it's really important to time it right. I remember that in like 2000, in the year 2000, I was kind of I was working at a telecom company interviewing some reporter and talk about like platform business. And after 1 hour of interview, I was asked, that person was asking, although like that person was like kind of covering IT at the time, like why is telecom company interested in train stations? Because I mean, it's like, he thought that platform was like not platform business, but like platform for train stations. So I just realized, oh yeah, like it's just really, he didn't understand everything that I talked about for the last 1 hour.
Hopefully nobody's confused here about the platform system.
Yeah. Similarly, because I've been using AI as a tool in data science, I have been able to see all this kind of the kind of danger of the bias and lack of transparency, like misrepresentation of the world, how that conception can propagate much faster because it's algorithmically implemented in this use of AI. So I've been talking about AI and ethics for like about 10 years, and I wrote a book about it, and I just kind of, but back then, people were just asking, like, why are you talking about, why is there anything, ethics has anything to do with technology? But today, I see like great interest in this topic, and there's a lot of like support and energy in doing the right thing in terms of making sure we have like a right safety mechanism in place, the kind of how to address biases and transparency and all this. So I think I feel more hopeful, but there's a lot more people who are trying to do it in the right way. I mean, I think there's a lot for us to overcome still, because like I do believe that one of the reasons why we are here and the kind of celebrating this innovation and like excited about this is kind of the openness and open source and all of those can allow us to kind of be check and balance to each other. And AI being something like a general purpose technology, it's just like utility. If it's in the hands of like a very limited number of people, it has a danger of being kind of really amplifying elitism in the society and like kind of the kind of inequality and all those things. So I think that we have to. I'm really passionate about kind of working together to really address those concerns preemptively, so that we can continue to create a world, make it world in a better place through this innovation and technology.
You're here. So for transparency and trust, thank you so much, Ying. And we are going to have a perfect segue into the next panel.
Songyi and Umair.
Cheers. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Cheers.